In this video, I'm going to show you how I bottle my Pinter beer. When it comes to bottling, regardless of whether you're using a glass bottle or a plastic bottle or even a reusable plastic bottle that you've used elsewhere, the most important thing is to clean it. Now, what I generally do is, if it was a brand new bottle, of course you would clean it out anyways, and then you would sterilise it afterwards. What you've got to get into the habit of doing is, after you've used that bottle, if it was filled with beer beforehand, when you finish the beer, try and clean it out straight away after, or at the end of the session after you've had a few, wash them all at the same time. If you're using a plastic bottle, the idea is, if you had a soft drink in there, clean it out as soon as you can after, to clean that and just get into the habit of it. It means next time you come to pick up the beer, or the bottle, you just do a quick clean and then sterilise, and you don't need to then worry about anything that may be stuck in the bottle. What I'm going to do is, I'll just show you what I would normally do for this. So I actually would rinse it out a few times with water to get the remnants of what was in there out, and then I would use a quick spray of Dettol. I would spray Dettol in, add water, and then mix it up. And then we'd rinse the bottle out as many times as required to get rid of the Dettol that's in there, which is normally about 3 flushes of clean water through. Once I've cleaned the bottle, I would leave it to drain. Some people have bottle trees where they can hang them. I just leave them on the side like this and they drain out. Once they've finished, I would then close it, cap it, and then leave it until I'm ready to then bottle. When it then comes to bottling the beer, again, it's been closed up. There could be dust on the top or around. I will give the bottle a rinse out. I'm not using any Dettol, I'm just using water at this stage. Now, if you've cleaned and you've only done that the day before, you maybe don't need to rinse out. It just depends on the time period in between. For me, this has probably been hanging around for 2 weeks, so I'm giving that extra rinse before I then go on to sterilising that bottle, putting the beer into. For sterilising my bottle, I have my trusty bottle cleaner, which works on a spring operation, and when you push down, it squirts water up and into the glass, which hopefully then cleans at the top and runs down the ends. So the idea is to give it a few pumps to get the sterilisation all around. I'm using sodium percarbonate, excuse my pronunciation, which I will add into here with hot water, very hot water, and that will then dissolve, and then that's what I use to clean. So let's just put some in. Got a spoonful, I put that in, and I add my boiling hot water. What's important here is to make sure that it is dissolved, and I do like to just move the spoon around, and you'll see the water will get a bit cloudy with this solution mixed in. It's important to also ensure that the water level is up high enough that when you dunk the bottle in, you're also dunking the cap, because you need to make sure that this cap, rubber seal, is getting cleaned at the same time. For me, 1 pump, 2, 3, and 4. I can now feel the bottle is boiling hot all the way round, and has had a good clean, and I leave it on the side to drain out. I'll do that again, and this time I'll bring you in closer. bottle cap, rubber seal. On mine, I make sure this is fully pushed up. If you're using plastic, you would just make sure the cap that you'll use is dunked in as well. Over it goes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm now going to do the rest of my bottles that I've got to get ready for bottling. I've now cleaned out the bottles that I require to work. I've worked out roughly how much. So these big ones are 500ml, these little ones are 330. So roughly I'm looking at about 2.5 litres worth of beer from the pinter that I'm going to be putting into bottles. The next step is to get your sugar solution ready that you will be putting at the bottom of the bottles. Some people use carbonation drops, but I prefer to just use sugar so I can get the right measure that I want for my beer. Now there's a few websites that you can use to work out the right amount of sugar or different sugar types that you may be using, so they'll just be listed underneath. I also use a spreadsheet, which I will have listed below as well. The spreadsheet is useful obviously because it's offline, but it also gives a list of all the different carbonation levels for the different beer styles. So the idea is that if you're having a stout, it's not going to have the same carbonation level required for it as you may have for a lager or a pilsner. So I do find that interesting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out the sugar that I require for mine. So I've worked out I've got 2.5 litres. I've worked out that I want to carbonate to a certain level, and it's given me the full amount of sugar that I need to create. I'm then going to weigh out that sugar, and then I'm going to dissolve it in water. And then the water is what I'm going to use to then put in to the beers at the bottom of the bottles, measuring out the exact amount that I should be doing. So quite a bit of calculations and maths at that stage. There we go, I've got my sugar weighed out. And I've got hot water. Boom. All dissolved. And for me, I'm going to change to a measurements from grams to millilitres. I'm just going to add a little bit more. Just for my purposes, to bring it to a round number that's easily divisible for me. In here I've put 15 grams of sugar, and I then added water to make it up to 90 millilitres, which I then can use to work out how much millilitres need to go into each bottle. It should be mentioned that I use one of these to suck in the solution that I'm going to put into the bottles. Anything that you're using needs to be sanitized. Because the sugar's gone into hot water, that has done its sanitizing. But I've used the bottle mix here, not a bottle mix, bottle wash here to clean out this. And it's just a case of running the solution through it a few times and even leaving it in here for a while. So I've actually probably put quite a bit more water than I normally would into this. That's my own fault. What I'm then looking at is, calculation wise, I know I've got 90 millilitres and I need to put that into 2.5 litres worth of bottles. So divide it by 2,500. And it's saying for each milliliter, I need to put 0.036 milliliters in here for each bottle sort of area. So I'm going to multiply that by the bottle size. So for a 330ml bottle, it's telling me to put 11 milliliters in. And for a 500ml bottle, I need to put 18 milliliters in. Yeah, not a great idea when I've got one of these that only goes up to 5. But that's my own fault. So there will be a lot more of this going in than I planned. When your bottles have dried and they're no longer warm to touch, you've got to make sure they're not warm. It's time to put the solution in. So the solution has cooled down anyways, and I'm going to take the measure that I need. So as I said, it's going to be around 11 for the small bottles. So they're going to be getting 2 of these plus a 1 ml after. So what I'll do is I'll put 10 ml into each of them. Make sure you keep track. And then I've put 10 in all those. I'm now going to put 1 milliliter in each of them. There we go. So they've all got 11, and now it's 18 for the back two. There we go. So with the help of the scale and a calculator, and I chose a round number for a reason at that stage because I knew my calculations would be easier. If you put less water in anyways to dissolve, it's probably better. I could have done 15 ml of water with the 15 grams of sugar, or maybe 20 ml of water, and it would have been a less solution in each. My fault, but that's fine. We've now got our solution in, and it's time to get bottled in. You'll find it useful to have the pinter overhanging, and of course you have to vent beforehand, otherwise you won't be able to pour correctly. I'm going to try and show it as best as I can with how I do this with the pinter. So I'll show you from far and I'll do a close-up. The idea is that I don't use a funnel. I don't need a funnel because of the size of these bottle lids. If it makes it easier, get a funnel so you can put it into the bottle and then you can pour into that funnel. The idea is you're trying to reduce any oxygen getting into the bottle. So if you do have a funnel, you've got to make sure you're pouring against the side at a nice even pace and that you're not getting any oxygen into that. It's to reduce the air contact to keep the solution as best as possible. For me, I find that I can control the pinter slowly enough. So I've got a tea towel on the bottom just in case this isn't going to go well. The red pinter for me pours differently than the yellow pinter. For the yellow, I can normally do it like this and get it to run on the inside. I think it's because it pours out the front bit. With the red, it seems to pour out the back. So what I'm doing is the opposite method, where I'm going to be tilting it the other direction and get this bottle lid as close in and start at a 45-degree angle. And I'm not pulling the pint handle completely towards me, only slowly. And the beer is sticking to the inside of the glass and working its way down. If you go too quick, you will end up building up foam. And the idea is try and keep this 45-degree angle for as long as possible until the end. Bit of spillage. Now I'm nearing the top. And there we go. Now, that may look bad, but it's not. I've got that much foam, the rest is liquid. That is fine, that's going to settle down, and then that's the head that I need to leave at the top for the secondary fermentation in the bottle to keep the carbonation. I could have slowed down the pour a bit, stop that foam at the end. I didn't catch it, and so it's got a bit of foam, but just leave that and it will settle down after a few seconds. Show you from this angle, 45-degree angle, and then slow pour. So the idea is to restrict its contact with the air and also to not pour too quickly so that it completely builds up with foam. So I'll just stop there to show you. That's the beer at the moment in the 330ml bottle, and there's no foam in it. Whoops, bit of spillage there. You don't want to pour direct down because that's going to cause more foam to build up. And you've just got to keep an eye on this steady stream and keep an eye when it's nearing the top. So you can start to straighten and perhaps remove the pressure a bit. Here we go, we're nearing the top. You can see the beer line coming towards me. Whoops. And there we go. Bit of drip from the tap, but that's now perfect height level with an area for the air at the top. There we go, bit of foam in this one only because it's a bigger bottle so they drop down. I'll probably top that up in a moment as the foam drops down. Go back to my previous one, you can see the foam has dropped down. It doesn't even need a top up actually, it's just ready to be capped and away it goes. That is my bottling from the Pinter. What I will do now is I will leave those for maybe 4 to 5 days in room temperature. So I'm looking at about 20 degrees roughly, because that sugar needs to react with the yeast that was there to do that secondary fermentation to create carbonation in the bottle. After that, you can move them to a cold location and put them in the fridge and drink them. There you go. But these will be good in, I would say, by the weekend for me to drink. Alright, until next time, take care guys.